I can. Oh yeah, I can see it. Yep.
Okay, great. All right, hello everybody. This is Austin Greathouse with Callie. Welcome to our webinar. This one will be on using Google Docs to create surveys, and we have a special guest presenter today, Rich McCue, System Administrator for the University of Victoria, Faculty of Law. So we'll welcome him. First off, I just want to give a little information on these webinars. We do these every week. Keep up with announcements and other information about the webinars at our blog or on Twitter or our Facebook page. And we will be recording this, so you can check out the archives of all past recordings and this one at calivideos.blip.tv. Again, every Friday at 3 p.m. Next week, we're going to have Deb Quintel going to go over second in a series of webinars on Callie Author. This one's going to be on adding media to Callie lessons with Callie Author. And August 7th, based on the feedback we got from attendees, we are planning on doing a Twitter webinar, but we need a volunteer, someone who uses Twitter a lot, someone who can go over the value of that for people in law school. So if you know anybody, shoot me an email and let me know. And we encourage questions and comments during the webinar. You can raise your hand during the call. And if I can just ask you to raise your hand right now if you see the button. I see a few people raising their hand. Very good. Yeah, looks like you guys can find it. So if you do that during the call, I'll unmute you and you can ask a question, or you can just shoot me a message and let me know that you have a question, and I'll relay that to Rich. So again, Rich is going to be our presenter, and also John Mayer, Callie's Executive Director, is on the line as well. So,
hi, folks.
Hey, John. So Rich, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let me change the view to your screen.
Okay. Okay, and I'm going to probably just show one browser window. Is my browser window showing up there now?
No, it's not right now.
Oh. Let me try here. Show application. Nope, it's not. I'll go to my whole browser window again. Shall go to main monitor 2.
There it is.
Is that showing up now?
Yes.
Okay, good. Just need to. Okay. So my name is Rich McCue. I'm the Systems Administrator at the Faculty of Law at the University of Victoria here. And this afternoon I'm going to show you how easy it is to turn a paper survey into an easy-to-use online form. Now there's two major advantages. One of them that you'll obviously guess, and that is there's no data entry required for you and your staff if you move from a paper-based survey to an online survey. And that's huge, especially if for the staff members that are having to type in the data. The other feature, which was an added bonus that I sort of in the back of my mind knew was there but wasn't fully expecting, was that the basic reporting, including graphs, is done for you right out of the box, so that a lot of the report writing work that I have to do in terms of creating graphs is already done, which is a very, very nice time-saving feature. So for me, this started when I received a request a few weeks ago from our admissions staff wondering if I'd update the technology section of our 1L incoming survey that's administered every September. And the first thing that came to mind was that I hate entering data because typically I've taken the portion of the survey dealing with technology and have inputted the data into a spreadsheet, which meant inputting 2 pages of data for about 100 students, which was never any fun. Now there are lots of other survey tools out there, including SurveyMonkey, Zoomerang, and Google Docs. I've used Google Docs for a few other things, including small seminars that the student groups wanted registrations for, and found it to be easy to use and flexible. So to start off, I'll show you an example of our old incoming survey, at least the technology portion of the survey. Some basic questions, some multiple choice questions. Yes, no, actually they're all multiple choice in this case. We did add a free-form question, a text question at the bottom for people to put comments and suggestions in, but not in this version of the survey from 2004. And what we turned this into was a report that looked like this. So I created some graphs in Excel, put a little bit of text on the side, bringing out the highlights, the important information gathered from the survey, and distributed it to the faculty and eventually to the students themselves as well. But all this would take probably about 2 hours for me to enter the data, and then maybe another hour to create the report in terms of putting together the graphics from the Excel spreadsheet. In terms of the data entry work is what I like to call digital ditch digging, and I want to eliminate that as much as possible, especially for myself. So when I received that email this year, I decided to turn the report into an online form, and this is what it looks like. It's done with Google Documents. The form is created, which I'll show you in just a minute, with a wizard. Students can go through to this web page. We'll give them a direct link to it. And then they simply, for example, this first question, to which of the law schools did you apply? Aside from the University of Victoria, they can select all the law schools they applied to, can put in which ones made offers to them, and on it goes. Most of this is admissions. When we get near the bottom, we have our technology section, whether or not they own a laptop, what operating system they use, how often they bring their laptop to work, how old it is, how many words per minute they can type, things of that nature. So we'll capture all of this information, and the information as it's entered goes into a Google Docs spreadsheet. And this spreadsheet is created automatically behind the scenes as you create your form. And you can see it just, if you're familiar with Excel, just rows of data, which should look familiar to you. This can then be exported to Excel if you want to work with it on your desktop. You just go to File, Export, Excel, and then it'll save the data to your desktop if you'd like to massage the data in Excel. But it'll also do out-of-the-box reporting for you. So if we go to the Form menu up top here and go to Show Summary, it shows us a summary of the data that's been entered so far. So you can just grab these graphs to use in your report if you'd like. Look, I'll go down to the computer section so we can take a look at it. But do you own a laptop? How old? You can grab this pie chart to put in your report. And all this is done automatically for you. No intervention required. So are there any questions to this point? If I'll take any questions that you have now, and then we'll go on to actually showing you a little how to create a survey from scratch, just a little test one. So first of all, you need to have a Google account to do this. So if you've got a Gmail account, you can use that. Universities who use Google Documents and Gmail for email for their students, you have Google Docs that you can use through your university. I know Arizona State is one of the universities that does that, and there are others as well. And there are also Google, and I'm not sure exactly how they've done this, but they've set up hosted accounts for almost every institution, educational institution in the United States and Canada, where you need to have an institutional email account to be able to access the Google documents. And I'll just give you a quick example of this. So if I open up a browser window and I go to www.google.com/hosted/seattleu.edu, so this is Seattle University. Seattle University does not use Google for their student email, but they have set up a space where people with Seattle University accounts can go. If you don't have an account, a Google Docs account attached to your Seattle University email address, you just click on Create a New Account here. You put in your email address. You create a password that's separate from your university password. It's a Google password. Put in your name, your country, and your account is set up. And so that's what I've done. We don't use Google Documents here at the University of Victoria, but if I go to google.com/hosted/uvic.ca, I can log in because I've created a separate account with them, and then I can access Google Documents, Google Calendar, and other things. So here's what the Google Documents management page looks like. And to create a survey, all you need to do is go to the New menu, go down to Form, click that, and we have a blank form that we can start to add questions to. So we'll just create a little test survey to show you some of the features of Google Documents, and we'll call the survey "Are you an IT guru?" We'll put in a little bit of help text just to explain what the survey is about. You don't need to do that, but you can if you want. And we'll start off with a sample question, which is just a text response. And our first question we'll put in which is your favorite Star Trek episode, and we just want the one-line response to this. So we'll click Done. Just delete that. Next, we'll do, to add another question, you go to Add Item at the top here, and you can see the different types of questions that can be asked. So the next one we'll do is paragraph text. And for this question, we'll put in, describe your feelings the first time you made a computer program. And we will put in a little bit of help text here, just to help the person filling it out. And we'll just say, if you've never made a computer program, leave blank. Again, we're using paragraph text. We can switch it at this point. We could switch it back to text, but we know that that's not going to be large enough. So we'll change it to paragraph text. And we also want to make, or we don't want to make this a required question because there are people who haven't made computer programs. When we're done the question, we hit Done. We'll add another question. This one will be a multiple choice. And this question will be, how many years have you worked in the IT field? And we'll put 1 year. We'll put 1 to 3. Put 4 to 6. Put 6 plus, or we'll say 6 to 9. And then just for fun, we'll put Add Other. So people can put in their own response down there if they'd like. And we'll make this a required question. Hit Done. So we're starting to get a few questions here. We'll add another one. We'll make it a checkbox this time. For this one, we'll put, please select all the operating systems that you've used below. And we'll start with Windows. Windows OS X, and Linux. If I had more time, I'd add in Windows 3.1, Windows 95, but for now this will have to do. We'll also make this required. The next type of question we'll look at is select from a list. So this one will be choose the age range that you fall into. So go under 25. 25 to 35, 35 plus. We'll make this mandatory as well. Then the last one that we'll look at, which is the one that I tend to use a lot in surveys, is the scale. So for this one, we'll put in how much do you enjoy the last Cali conference, and we'll use a scale. I like using 1 to 4. And we'll put a couple of labels on. We'll do very little and very much. Done. And you can see what the question looks like there. Very little, just to give an indicator to the person filling out which direction they should be going in terms of liking or not liking the conference. So, we'll go over the results of this, but before we go any further, I'm just going to we'll look at the published version of it. It is wide open, and I'll just turn this into a tiny URL so people can fill this out while we look at some of the back-end features of it in terms of the spreadsheet that's filled out, just so we can have a little bit of data in it. So go back here. So if you're able to, if you could go to this tiny URL, and I'll just give you a minute to copy and paste or type it in. It's tinyurl.com/kwh88g. And just, if you could quickly fill out the form, the survey form, to put a little bit of data into the spreadsheet for us. So I'll move this to the bottom. So that's what the form will look like when you go to it in your web browser. Are you an IT guru? I'll just fill it out quickly here. So I don't know what my favorite episode is. I felt great after my first program. So I'll submit it. And after the user submits the form, they get a thank you response, which we can edit, and we'll show you how to do that in a minute. I'll just close that out. And I'll actually show you how to edit that response form right now. All you need to do is, when you're editing the form, go to More Actions, and then Edit Confirmation. And here's the response that was put in there. You can change that to say thank you. The other thing you can do if you'd like is by checking the box down there, you can let everyone see the summary of the survey so they can see the results of the survey. I'm going to do that because I like to share information. Anyone who's filling out the form after this time will have a link that will allow them to view the results of the survey. The other thing we can do to preview the survey, I just did that now, but I didn't explain what I did. Down here, clicking on this link at the black part at the bottom of the page will open up the survey for you so you can see what the end user will see. This is pretty plain. You can change the theme of it. That's simply done by clicking on the theme button. And there are a number of themes you can choose. About 70 of them, I think. So we'll click on that just to see what it looks like. That's a nice looking one. So we'll leave that. So when we click on the survey now, we get a different look to it. Other thing that I haven't done here that's very useful in longer surveys is to insert section headers. So if you go to Add Item, you can select Section Header and another section of the survey. Text here, and there's the section header. And let's say I really should have put that up here. I just move it up there, hit Save, and done. The next person that goes to the survey will see the section header there. And that's the same with all the questions. If I decide that I really want to put the how much did you like the Cali conference at the top, I can move it up to the top. Right there, and that's the top of the survey. Hit Save. And if we go through and do the preview again.
I got a question.
Yeah. Go ahead.
This is John Mayer. So if you drag around those question order, is that going to mess up your spreadsheet now because some of us filled it out with the questions in one order, and now people are going to fill it out with the questions in a different order?
No, yeah, that's a very good question. If you move them around in the edit mode here, no, that's not a problem. I'll just close this now and show you the next thing. Where it will cause problems if you go into the actual spreadsheet mode. So if we go to more, let's see. So if we go to See Responses and then Spreadsheet, come on. Okay, there's the summary. So, and if we go to Spreadsheet, it's not going into the spreadsheet. Just let me go in a different way here. That button should have taken us into the spreadsheet, but it didn't. There we go. So that's the spreadsheet mode there. Now if you move around the fields in the spreadsheet, let's say I decide to move the Star Trek episode over to column E or something, that will break it. But moving around the forms or the field position in the form does not break it. But if you don't want to muck around with the spreadsheet. If you want to add additional questions, that's fine. Do that in the form, but don't try to reorganize a spreadsheet, or that will break things. Did that answer your question?
Yes, it did.
Okay. Yeah, if you have any other questions, feel free, just let us know and we'll answer them. So we'll look at the results now in a little more detail. So if we click on Summary, it looks like only one person did not enjoy the Cali conference, but a lot of people did. We can see the responses to the favorite Star Trek episode here in text form. Describe your feelings the first time, the computer program. Again, we're getting the text there. Not a lot of text. If it's a longer question, obviously it's going to take up more space, but short answers here. Get a nice pie graph about how many years we've worked in the IT field. It looks like we got a number of veterans. A lot of Windows. Linux is ahead of OS X. That's surprising. And then the majority of people or the largest group is over 35, but about 50% under and over 35. And again, you can just grab these graphics, save picture as, or copy and paste it into a Word document so that you can use that in your reporting. saves a lot of time, especially the data entry part, but it's amazing how much time can be saved in the report writing if your graphs are just generated for you automatically. So I think that's pretty much it, unless there are more some questions.
I actually have a question. Maybe I missed this at the beginning because I was messing with the webinar stuff. But is there some sort of mechanism to make sure a person only takes this once?
In this case, no. No, it's wide open.
Okay.
In the case of our incoming student survey, that's not terribly important for us. We have them all do it at a set time so that they're in the computer lab with their library orientation. So they just fill out the form. We close the form. That is one thing I didn't show. If we go back to editing mode, oh, actually it's in spreadsheet mode. Sorry. We go back into the spreadsheet. That one does not want to go into the spreadsheet. So if we go into the spreadsheet view, you go to form and accepting responses. So you can shut it down so it won't accept any more responses. So in terms of our incoming survey, we'd have the survey open for basically 1 day while all the students went through the library lab for their orientation. Then we'd stop accepting responses and use the data, set in time or frozen in time there. But that's a good question, though. It will not do that. You can have them log on to if they would have to have a Google. This would probably work best at a university like ASU where everyone has a Google account. You can capture their email address in that instance. But in this case, we want anonymous data, so we haven't done that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So I don't know because I don't use surveys that often, but compared to the other ones that you mentioned, how would you compare their capabilities? What is Google Docs lacking? What would someone not want to use this for, I guess?
I've used SurveyMonkey just for 1 or 2 surveys that our main library did, and it probably does have a few more bells and whistles. But for the bells and whistles, I believe you do have to have a license to use survey. And actually, I'm not 100% sure about this because I wasn't involved in that side of things. But I know our main library on campus has some sort of a licensing agreement with them to use it. So there are some features available to those with a license and those without, but I'm not 100% sure what those are because I've just used the licensed version that they've provided.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know there's some limitations with how many people take the survey with the SurveyMonkey, I think.
Okay.
Of course, you don't have those limitations with this.
No.
Yeah, this looks like you could do things really quick and dirty.
Yeah.
And if you want a more large, involved survey, maybe you want to go with the bells and whistles of SurveyMonkey.
Right.
Yeah.
But this is quick and dirty and free.
Yeah, and I think it's great. I had no idea you could do it. So.
Well, and the other thing that I originally used it for was for our alumni group was having a reunion, and they wanted to have people sign up for it, and we're looking for me to create a web page, a PHP web page for getting people to sign up, just so they have an idea of numbers and where they were coming from, that sort of thing. And we ended up just embedding a Google Docs form for them to sign up again. Not a real high security type application, but they just wanted a rough idea of who was coming and, where they were coming from.
Well,
quick and dirty.
Very good. So with that, do we have any questions from the audience? I think Jeff Whitcomb here says SurveyMonkey is about $125 a year.
Okay.
That's what.
Yeah, so not that bad if you're using it a lot, but if you don't want to shell out that money, Google Docs will probably do 80 or 90% of what SurveyMonkey would do.
Yep, seems like it.
Yeah.
Okay, we are at 3:30 Eastern Time.
Yep.
So we'll go ahead and end it then. Rich, thank you so much for doing this. Look for the video of this up on calivideos.blip.tv, and we hope to see everyone next week. Thanks again, Rich.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, Rich.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.